Hi everybody, my name's Alex Ritz. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and in this video we're going to talk a little bit about reasons your puppy might always seem to be hungry, never full. And in some cases, your puppy might seem hungry because they truly do need more calories. Growing puppies need a lot more food than an adult dog that's just maintaining their body weight does. If you're worried about this, you could always ask your puppy's veterinarian for advice, especially on their body condition and whether or not they're, appearing to be in a healthy, fit manner. You can also, check the back of your dog's dog food bag for starting recommendations on how much your puppy should eat. And then there's various feeding calculators too, including one that we have at houndgames.com that you can do to look at the kcals that your dog needs and how much kcals are in a cup of your dog's food, and then use that to determine at least a starting point of how much food your puppy needs. This will vary based on individuals' metabolism and activity level and all that, but it's always a good starting point to look at, what your puppy needs nutritionally. So if you're determined you are feeding your puppy enough, they're at a healthy weight, they're growing well, and they are still seeming to always be hungry, it could be that they are just always hungry for the dessert, right? Any scraps of food that we give them or delicious treats. I know that for both of my dogs, if they are truly hungry, they will eat the food in their bowl. But there might be times where they might not eat their bowl of food, but if I pull out some training treats, they're going to be very excited about it. Same reason why I might walk by a table middle afternoon at work, see that there's some cookies, and I wasn't necessarily thinking I was hungry, but I really like cookies, so I'm going to help myself to one. So if your puppy is specifically begging for bits of your meal, stuff they can steal off the counter, training treats, that kind of stuff, it could be the case your puppy's not actually hungry, they just really like that food, so they're going to eat it anyways. In rare cases, if you have a dog that's, was a dog that was rescued, that had been living kind of, dumped and living off the streets and was not used to that environment, had to do a lot of scavenging, especially as a very young puppy, that can make some dogs feel that they need to eat all the food in sight and be hungry all the time because they're not sure where their next meal is coming from. I will say that is a much more rare option versus a puppy that just likes eating. I have seen one dog in particular over my years of training that was the case. The puppy had been found as a very young puppy, having to fend for itself, and in a very remote area without a lot of access to stuff that it could scavenge. And that dog, we were in a basic obedience class working on teaching Leave It, and that dog very much struggled with that at first because it had to grow up persistently working to get food. So we had to kind of change our perspective and our goals with that dog for what we wanted, Leave It to be. But in most cases, it'll be a puppy that just, like I said, really likes something, or a puppy that isn't getting enough calories. There are some cases, labs have a problem, a genetic problem, where in certain labs, not all labs, but some labs can have this where the sensor that tells their brain their stomach is full doesn't work. So in some Labrador retrievers, you will see that they truly always seem hungry, and that's because their stomach never tells their brain they're full. So if you have a Labrador retriever or a lab mix, that is one possibility as well. If you're trying to determine whether or not your puppy is getting enough food. For most puppies, if they're under 6 months old, you're going to feed them anywhere from 3 to 6 times a day. Over 6 months old, anywhere from 2 to 3 times a day until they're an adult and on their 2 times a day meals. So smaller meals throughout the day can help some puppies, continue to feel full longer. Some puppies you can add like vegetable fillers to their meals, where it's just going to add like space to take up in their stomach, not actually calories, if they're getting enough calories but their stomach doesn't feel as full. But if you're wondering how to, look at your puppy and determine if their body condition shows that they're having enough food or not, you can just evaluate their body condition itself. So I'll show you that with one of my dogs. Pup, pup. Come here, pup, pup. Good boy. So when we're evaluating a dog's body condition, there's a couple different things we want to look at. Do I get 2 pups to help? Thank you. You want to look at their tuck up. You stand up. So nice. So right up here under their stomach, mine's fluffy, but you can still see under the fluff, my arm can go up. In most breeds, there will be a tuck up. You can also look at their waist. So when you look over the top of your dog at their waist, we turned the piano on. When you look over the top of your dog at their waist, you want to be able to see that it's like an indent. So rib cage, indent at the waist, back out at the hips. It shouldn't be straight through for the vast majority of dogs. And then we can also look at body fat. And typically we do that looking at our dog's rib cage. So on a short-coated dog, you might be able to see this. On fluffier dogs, most dogs in general, you will want to feel. And when you feel them, feel along their ribs, you want to be able to feel their ribs without too much extra effort. And I like to, compare it to your hand. So if you make a fist, you want the ribs to feel like the back of your fingers here. Right along the back, you can feel the indent. There's a little bit of padding, nothing too, pokey, and don't have to work too hard to feel it. You don't want your dog's back or your dog's ribs to feel like the back of your knuckles here, where it's indent, indent, indent. It's very clear definition between the ribs. There's indents between them. You just want to be able to feel each rib like the tops of your fingers rather than your knuckles in the fist. Open palm. If you can feel your dog's ribs like the top of your palm here, where you can feel bones in there, but you have to push for it, not just run your hand, you have to push a little bit deeper. That's a little bit of a fat padding coverage on there, and sign that they're getting maybe a little bit overweight. And if you are feeling your dog's ribs and they're feeling like the thumb here, right on your palm, or you can't feel anything, it's just squishiness there, that is definitely a sign that your dog is probably too much weight on them. For most dogs, you might be able to, if they're short-haired, see a little bit of their ribs, but you don't want to see like each individual rib on them. So if you have concerns about your dog, definitely keep an eye on their body condition. As your puppy grows, they'll need different amounts of food in order to accommodate for their growth spurts. So definitely a good idea to just kind of keep an eye on how they're doing to see if they need more food or less. And if you have any concerns or you're unsure how to perform that body condition assessment on your dog, you can always ask your puppy's veterinarian when you're at a puppy vet visit, a vaccine checkup, just to kind of show you how to check your dog to make sure that they don't have any excess fat coverings. They're still getting enough, but they're not having too much weight put on or too skinny too, because both too much weight and not enough can, lead to health problems with our dogs. So again, in general, puppies may seem to be hungry all the time, just like mine are right now. I have treats. They're more than willing to eat those treats. That does not mean that they are truly hungry in terms of really needing another bowl of food, needing more calories. They have good body weight conditions. They've eaten their meals today. Treats are just nice things to eat. And some dogs, just like some people, prefer to eat more than we really should. So that is something to keep in mind as well. And if you have concerns about your puppy's hunger, if they're eating a lot more than they should, not gaining weight, really easily gaining weight, anything like that, definitely bring it up with your puppy's veterinarian, and they can help you assess their food and their body condition to see, an appropriate direction to take with your dog. For more tips and tricks, check us out at houndgames.com, and don't forget to hit subscribe. I want this. Yes.